Hey, everybody, welcome to the Going Ballistic podcast. We're on episode number 73. I'm back with Jason Kleckner. How you doing, man?
Good. Sorry I missed everybody last week.
Was it last week when I raced through all the Q&A?
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess it
last
was.
Tuesday.
Well, guys, my microphone, I guess, kept cutting out so much. I finally got a new microphone, and I have, sound equipment now, and I'm, trying to do this all nice, but I don't have the sound figured out yet. So if my voice sounds different, maybe it's more accurate. This is really what my voice sounds like. Or maybe I don't have it set up yet. Either way, let me know in the feedback if it's at least clear. I'm looking for clear and maybe looking for similar volume between Jason and I. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, because my fancy equipment is my earbuds. So
I know, and yours works just better than mine. So I'm trying to go fancy. Well, how you been, bud?
Good. I actually I had a couple things show up in the mail today, believe it or not.
Ooh. I'm gonna try and one up you. What'd you get show up in the mail today?
So remember we were talking about the amazing deals through PSA, Palmetto State Armory?
Yes, and I hope when people went and checked them out, they used our link to support our shooting habit.
Me too. But I got to tell you, dude, I am pretty impressed. So the uppers I had come in are actually for my brother-in-law, and they were on sale for $299 with the charging handle, bolt carrier group, and all that jazz. And I'm pretty impressed with it, to be honest with you. I don't know if this is we can get a backup good picture of it, but the stainless barrel looks pretty nice on it. We'll see how it shoots. Awesome. But all in all, for $299 complete,
that's awesome,
dude. I don't think he could do much better.
How does the bolt carrier look?
It looks like just a cheap bolt carrier.
Is the gas key properly staked?
I don't know. How do you know if it's properly staked?
So you know that little snorkel on the top there? It's called the gas key.
Yeah.
It's actually bolted onto the body of the bolt carrier there. You should see two, Allen head screws tightening it in there.
Yeah.
On both sides of that snorkel, you should see where someone has hit it with a hammer and a little wedge that pinches the metal against those screws really, really tight. It's called staking.
I did not know that, but yes, that is there.
Can you hold it up to the camera? Let us see it.
Let's see if we can. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yeah, it does. It actually looks pretty good. What you want to look for is that considered properly staked is when it's enough to actually disturb the metal and be really tight. It's not just like someone went dink and called it a day. I mean, you want it to be a pretty severe thing because you never want those screws to come loose.
Yeah, they got it on both sides. One side's definitely dented more than the other one, but I did not know that. I learned something today.
So now take the bolt carrier and snap the bolt out so it's extended.
Okay.
And then rest it on the face of the bolt and let go on a table. And I want to see if the weight of the carrier stays in place.
It does.
All right, there you go. And that's how you test that the gas rings are tight enough.
Yeah, that one I did know, but I did not know about the pinching around those.
There you go.
So now I'm going to look at my $59 bolt carrier group that I got, and it is done also.
Yeah, most all are done. It's just whether they've done enough, whether they just phoned it in or whether they really did it well.
Huh.
That comes loose, gun stops working. So you never want those to come loose. So
I learned.
I'm going to try to one up you here in just a second, but I'm also going to talk about when we're talking about gear. We had some contests going. We had 2 contests going on gununiversity.com. We had another contest for the MagTech 77 grain 223, a 50 round box, and I just picked the winner. And entry 2187 was Teresa R. from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So congratulations, Teresa. You just won a 50 round box of MagTech ammo. That stuff is awesome. Their 9mm and that are my 2 favorite cartridges they make by far.
Yes.
9mm is awesome for plinking, and it's accurate enough. I had someone actually the other day like tell me like it was a fact. No, it's inaccurate ammo. Like, okay, it is. It's budget ammo, but it's not inaccurate, the 9mm. And they're going off on it. And so I did a complete jerk move and pulled up Viking Tactics Instagram and showed them the picture of the 10-shot group I shot with it. I'm like, gun can be accurate. So anyways, that's awesome. Congratulations, Teresa. Thank you for entering. I'll have another contest up by tomorrow morning. I think I'm going to keep it going with that 223 stuff because that stuff is awesome. You guys will be blown away when you try it in your gun. It's really cool stuff. It's
awesome.
really not normal mag tech. It's not budget stuff. I think it's actually some of the better stuff you can get. Now, the other contest has gone insane. Have you seen the other contest on there, Jason?
Is this for the stock?
Yes.
That thing's awesome looking.
I don't want to tell you how many people have entered because I don't want to discourage people from entering. But I don't know, maybe I do. Over 1,000 people have entered so far.
That's awesome.
Kind of cool. Yeah. But I want to get a lot more out of it, right? Get on there, guys. I'm trying to give away an awesome stock. It is a Magpul Pro 700 chassis. It's their new chassis with more of the vertical grip. And I tell you what, I'm starting to soften on the pistol grip idea on a chassis or on a bolt gun. Because it's more vertical, I get it. It's now in a better position for you when you're up on kneeling or things like that. I think the angled swept back, putting my wrist at a weird angle, and also the control issue is a problem. But that vertical grip they put on there is really pretty cool. So go check out gununiversity.com, enter the contest, and you can win a free Magpul Pro 700 chassis. I am ending the contest super early Christmas morning so that I can pick the winner and let you know by email. So you can wake up Christmas morning and get an extra special Christmas present from Gun University, maybe for one of you out there that gets to win the chassis. So guys, go do it. Please spread the word. I know the contest is set up that you can get a special link, for your friends to share. But if you have a blog or a website, especially not just social media, but somewhere where you can actually post it or even on a forum, I'd really appreciate just the real link to the page because that really helps the website out the more links you get out there. So congratulations, Teresa. Guys, do not forget to go enter that Magpul Pro 700 chassis out there. And now I want to show you what arrived in the mail for me. You ready?
I'm ready.
Can you see it? Is it far enough
away? That thing is awfully tiny.
It is a SIG Rattler, so a piston-driven. It's technically a pistol because it's got the brace on it. 300 blackout.
Now we've talked about this before, cool. So
it finally came in. I've been waiting forever for it.
Now, is the barrel long enough for that bullet to reach its maximum velocity? Like on the AR, it has to be a certain length.
It is not long enough to reach its maximum velocity. No. 300 blackout is optimized for a 9-inch barrel, which is why if you're going to do an SBR and you don't care, you're trying to decide between 223 and 300 blackout, do 300 blackout because it's meant to burn fully in 9 inches. So you're not losing all that. But this is a 5.5. So no, it is not getting its full velocity. But with a silencer on it, it's getting a little more oomph behind it. And the idea is supposed to be the tiniest package you could probably get. So I mean, this thing is ridiculously little package for a AR style gun. It's awesome. Yeah, it's fun. I've been playing with it a little bit in the backyard.
So with it being the pistol version, you don't need to get your ATF stamp for it.
Correct.
It's not an SBR.
It's an NFA firearm. Correct. It is not an SBR because it's not an R. So in order to be a short-barreled rifle, it's got to be a rifle, and that's a pistol. It's the biggest loophole. I love that it happens. I can't believe the ATF is okay with it or that they let it happen. I'm glad they do. I think it's awesome. I think a lot of the rules are stupid, but and these stocks are so good now. I don't know why people at SBR anything anymore. So I got some more things in the mail. I'll show you another one. Hold on just a second.
Now you're going to have to send a video.
SBA3. See this thing? This looks like a normal stock, right?
Correct.
I mean, it even comes with the buffer tube. It collapses, comes with the buffer tube in there, but it's got this little hole in the back. But it's rigid. I mean, it's solid. That's hard plastic. It's kind of like a Magpul stock. But this technically will make an AR a pistol. So you can take an AR lower, build yourself a pistol. And this thing is awesome. I mean, it's solid as can be. It's actually more solid than most of my AR stocks. There's no rattle at all. Again, it's hard plastic. It's got a great cheek weld. I'm not kidding, man. These new SBA 3s are so freaking cool. They might as well just be a rifle stock for how good they are. QD sling swivels, I mean, collapsible, but it's technically legally a pistol brace. So you can put this on any AR and it's no longer an SBR. So why would you do that when you could just buy this?
So what makes that a pistol stock though? I mean, what is the...
Well, so it's not a pistol stock. It's just not a rifle stock. I don't know if that makes any sense, but in order to be a rifle, it needs to be designed and intended to be fired from your shoulder. Well, this has a little opening in the back that technically is designed... I'm trying to say this with a straight face. Yeah, like for a forearm. So it's like a stabilizing brace.
Okay.
So, but you don't have to use it as that. You can put it in your shoulder because it doesn't matter how the gun's used. It matters how it was designed and intended. That was a big fight I had with the ATF, honestly. Was for a while there, they said you couldn't shoulder them because that redesigned it. And then one of my arguments to the ATF was the rifle is a rifle when it's designed and intended to be fired from your shoulder. But what if I put it on my forehead and pulled the trigger? Does that mean it's no longer a rifle? And they, well, no, it's still a rifle. I'm like, well, I don't know. If I changed it, I quote unquote redesigned it. That's absurd. That's not what designed means. I may have used it other than it was designed, but I didn't redesign it. So it was a big fight, and ATF finally came back out and said, okay, never mind. You can do whatever you want with those. So yeah, get one of those for $100 with the buffer tube. Build yourself an AR and put whatever length barrel you want on it, and it's not an SBR. You now have a compact concealable gun, especially if you get a Law tactical folder. You can now fold that stock over to the side, or the non-stock over to the side of the gun, and now you have a little tiny, gun package without any NFA paperwork issues at all.
That's awesome. So I was doing a little reading on some stuff that came out about how the 30-06 is dead. There's an article that came out, and it was interesting because I didn't realize after reading through it that I believe after like 300 yards, the 308 actually starts to outperform the 30-06.
Not true.
Not true?
No.
Correct me. Well, correct what I read. This is what I wanted to ask.
I don't know what you read. I'll have to go check it out, send it. But so, yes, given certain loads, maybe that's true. Okay, maybe certain bullets if you're not using the same thing, but they're both 30 caliber cartridges, so they both can shoot the exact same bullet. Okay?
Right.
So you put a 175 grain 308 bullet in a 30-06, 175 grain 308 bullet in the 308. The 30-06 is faster. So the same bullet leaves the gun faster than another bullet in another gun. It's not going to all of a sudden magically switch places at 300 yards. The 30-06, same bullet, will outperform the 308 the entire way it could possibly fly, because no matter whatever distance it is, the 30-06 will still be a little bit faster than the 308. So no, a 308 does not outperform it. Now, if you're saying a 308 with a modern bullet in this weight compared to a 30-06 with an old bullet design in a different weight, okay, maybe, but that's not a fair comparison.
Right.
So, and then the 30-06 can actually shoot heavier bullets effectively, so that even perform even better. A fast, heavier bullet's going to buck the wind better and travel better. Now, what is true is there's not much difference between them. I would say there's 10%, if that, difference between them, because a modern 308 is very similar to the old performance of a 30-06. I don't think there's any reason to have one anymore, to have a long action just to get a little bit more performance. I think the 308 is so darn close. A good way to think about it is a 300 Win Mag's energy at 300 yards. Okay.
Yep.
Is the same as the 30-06's energy at 200 yards. Is the same as a 308's energy at 100 yards. So the jump from 308 to 30-06 gets you an extra 100 yards of the same energy. And the jump to 300 Win Mag gets you an extra 100 yards of the same energy.
Right.
Now, of course, that's not dead on precise, but it's reasonable ballpark comparison between them. So yeah, 30-06 outperforms it, not by that much though, and I don't think not enough to justify having a long action receiver and a long bolt throw.
Interesting.
So I'd love to see the article, but I don't understand how it could.
I'll have to find it again, but I was reading through it and I'm like, I'm going to ask Ryan about this because that doesn't make sense to me. But
yeah, because the only way the 308 could outperform it is if it was traveling faster. If it's traveling faster, it outperformed it at the barrel too.
Right.
So I don't know about that one. Hey, I've neglected the comments. Have you seen? Holy smokes, people are coming on. Hey, everybody. Nice to see you guys on the live chat on YouTube. Love having you guys on here. Robert says, hey, Ryan, can you clarify on Rocket CCW? Would that be the same as a standard CCW? Like allowing firearm purchases without going through a next check every time? Not likely, Robert. So one, Rocket CCW gets you a Virginia non-resident CCW because there's a loophole that Virginia allows you to get qualified for a CCW with an online course, and you can apply without ever stepping foot in the state. So through Rocket CCW, you take a 20-minute course, you can buy the certificate, and you can apply. And it works in over half the country. However, some of the fine print is it depends on your state, too. So even though on the map it says it works in Tennessee, which it does, Tennessee has an extra rule, and a few other states do too, that says if I'm a resident of Tennessee, which I am, I also have to have the Tennessee resident permit. So it works in over half the country when you're traveling, guaranteed. Whether it works exactly in your state depends on your state's rules. And when you're talking about not going through a NICS check, that is at a state level. So the ATF chooses state by state which states are allowed to not have to do a NICS check. And the reason they pick a certain state is because that state's background check standards are good enough. So in Tennessee, if the standards are good enough, like in Arizona, they were, when Arizona used to have a CCW, that's ATF saying, okay, they're checking backgrounds enough, we can do that. Getting this, Virginia non-resident CCW through Rocket CCW would completely circumvent that process. So no, that would not work. Casey says, Ryan, I'm going from a 338 Savage to a stainless Tikka and 6.5 with a 20-inch barrel. I want the CTR, but would you say the stocks are garbage like the T3? Would I be better off getting out of stock? No, the CTR is a better stock, but it's still not ideal. Casey, I would do the Tikka TAC A1 all day long. They are the way to go. The CTR works, but the Tikka TAC, which I think Red Leg is talking about, Sniper's Hide Frank says they're legit chassis. I think you might be thinking about the TAC A1, like is what I'm talking about, because I know he likes those and so do I. That's why I did my videos. You do the NSSF videos with my Tikka. That's in the TAC A1. The CTR is more like the normal stock with an adjustable comb. So you could use it for sure, but I don't know. Jeremy says he thought podcasts for the new generation. Dude, we're not that old. Casey's correct on you. They're not stocks, Ryan. You're absolutely right, Casey. Even as I said it, I remember thinking, I shouldn't have said stocks. Speaking of the ATF, how about their declaration about not making decisions on accessories? I read like you just surprised me with something from the ATF. Let me know what you're talking about. Send me a link or something. I haven't heard that. You see anything else in there, Jason, that's jumping out at you in the comments?
Oh, I'm just laughing at the funniest one about how your yawn sounds amazing with your new mic.
Does that sound better, Buster?
That's awesome.
Great. Now I'm yawning for real. So seriously, guys, does the new mic sound better? I need to know because I'm trying to set this up and I'm half deaf. So I don't how am I supposed to adjust the audio?
So I'm still trying to get over the fact that you're leaning towards pistol grip rifle stocks. This is like
I wouldn't say leaning towards. I said I'm warming up too.
Yeah, this is how that 6.5 Creedmoor thing started off. I can see it now.
Yep, it all just starts.
You're going to have one, 6.5 Creedmoor. You're going to change your stock. Probably going to go with some weird color.
I'm going to get like some pipe. I'm going to go like complete hipster.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
So I have not done I've just been so busy, man, it's just that time of year, holidays, Christmas, family stuff, you name it. So it's nice to be kind of slowing back down and getting back to the grind of things.
Oh, did I send you the clip from NRA TV last week?
No.
I got to be on NRA TV last week.
Oh, I saw that though. You didn't send it to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw it.
I got her to smile. She seems like really tough. As I'm sitting there waiting for my segment to start, she's like just talking. This new thing came out, and we're talking about this, and here comes that. And I was like, "Holy cow!" She's gonna bust my chops. And then, as she comes to my segment, I got her smiling and laughing. She liked the kids' book. Someone said my mic could be a little higher, so I'm turning it up a little bit. Hopefully, that's better for you guys. So, all right, well, good deal. So, what were you gonna say, Jason?
I was gonna say that I haven't been able to do much shooting. The only shooting I've done is with my pellet rifle in the last week.
Really?
Yeah.
You've been busy. I get it.
But I still like shooting the pellet rifle. Took down a couple birds as I was coming in and out of the garage. Just to take the itch out of the trigger finger a little bit.
You are a murderer.
Some would say so. Which I did eat my deer last week, and it was amazing.
Oh, good.
And just so you know, the wife is still not on board for your sous vide weird hot water cooker.
She hasn't tried it.
Yeah, but she doesn't. She likes her meat burnt. So I'm trying to talk her into this, but she's not having it.
Oh, well, she doesn't like good food then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, so everyone said send me the links. That's awesome. Maybe I'll do that in the trigger words right after this. I'll read the articles and talk about it. So that'll be cool. Thanks, guys. See, you guys are awesome. So I thought you said you had stuff. You had a couple topics, Jason. Have you covered them already?
Nope, the 308 was one of them. The other one I was going to point out is I saw that the Q rifle is back to having their Bartland barrels and no other barrel. So I don't think they can. I don't think they can make up their mind on their website on which one's what, or they're just out of stock of them that fast.
Philip is my man. You see him in the comments. He said, "Dude, grabbed a sous vide after I recommended it. He's totally sold." You're crazy, Jason.
Hey, man! Happy wife, happy life.
Does your wife? Yeah, teach her how to like eat a good cut of meat. She'll be even happier.
No, I just got to cook them two different ways.
That's funny. Well, she like it burnt because the flavor. She like it burnt as in she likes it not rare.
She likes it not rare.
Oh yeah. So not only can it taste more rare, even though it's actually cooked, which I think is why it tastes amazing. It looks rare. It can be medium well, and it's pink edge to edge, so it'd probably freak her out.
Yeah, it's not even a matter of the taste. If she sees that thing is red, she's not having it.
Jay Siege said, give Jason the credit for his 1,000-round purchase of MagTech ammo. That's awesome, man. The sales that we're having on MagTech are insane. It is. There's been some 9mm price wars. I don't even know why some of these companies are making it right now, because it's so overstocked everywhere and so cheap. It's kind of like a race to the bottom of the industry to see who can make the cheapest 9mm and not make any money on it. But I love seeing a at least reliable, good brand like a MagTech being 15.5 cents, 16 cents a round all day long. I got to follow your advice, Jason, and just stock up on a bunch.
Yeah, and that's my plan too. And I'm happy that he's got the 1,000-round purchase and he's liking it. I'd love to hear how it's shooting for him, because I've now shot it against 3 other rounds and still loving it and think it's just as good. I mean, that the little upper end SIG ammo I had in 9mm,
yep,
I couldn't see a difference between the two. And I was shooting this all the way out to the 20 yards with it at the range.
Wow.
And shot the same.
Awesome, man.
But not to embarrass my daughter, but I'm going to do it anyway. We went out shooting while she was out.
We miss Hunter.
And she actually shot fine, but naturally I'm going to try to outshoot my daughter, right? So we had got a hostage target at the range and set it up and told her, okay, you cannot hit the lady. And she shot and brought it back, and naturally she hit the lady 3 times. So we got a good picture of her posing next to her poster of her hostage that she shot and killed.
So wait a minute, what about all this equality when it comes to hostages?
What do you mean?
Can't shoot the ladies, got to protect the ladies. I thought all these women wanted equality.
Oh, yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. This was more of a skills thing, and I tried to talk her into shooting for money, but she wasn't going to have it.
That's funny. Oh, James said he loves hanging out with us, man. Thanks, James. We appreciate it. We like hanging out, too. It's why we do this. Love you guys being part of this.
Absolutely.
What guns were you shooting, dude?
So we mostly shot the Glock 19s because that's what she has. So she wanted to shoot that a bunch. But she also shot the SIG 229 40 cal. Is that right? 229, 226?
I don't know. I can't keep track of their numbering system.
I can't either. It's the 40 cal full size SIG. Shoots great. Good gun. And then we took out the 1911 45, shot that.
You still like that thing, don't you?
I do, man. That R1 Commander from Remington, I really like it a lot.
So that was the friends and family deal one?
Yeah.
I still love those little stories. Like, I love it because other people at Remington know what we're talking about. There's like, they were doing budget reports with a line item for Kleckner boys.
Oh, man. We went to town. And even on the second one that we did, I had to refrain. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that. And I'm like, no. Hold on.
Can you see these bullets right here?
Yeah. Remember
SMBs? The load I did? This is the load I did like 2 years ago, and I stuck it halfway out the end of my barrel. Do you remember that? I'll talk about it on the podcast. These are my 300 blackout loads. Those are 220 grain round nose soft point bullets. This is how I load. So 300 blackout with a 220 grain bullet, round nose, soft point. They hit like a sledgehammer, subsonic.
I would imagine.
Yeah, and they're in a Magpul magazine because they feed and shoot like a champ. Matter of fact, how many rounds do I have left? I have 15 rounds left on the magazine because I took the Rattler out back and just into the ground, and they just feed and cycle. And so anyone's wondering, the round nose, Hornady 220 grains, feed and cycle just fine out of an AR, even though they don't look like they should. It's really, really fun. Someone asked, should you run a crimp? He said, when reloading for an AR-10, do you recommend a bullet with a cannular and crimp or not? I recommend a cannular and crimp when you're using an autoloader. Now, it's not necessary at all because tons and tons and tons of my precision rifle work has been done with, gold medal match. So all the ammo I shot of my SPR in the military was all gold medal match. Now, a lot of the ammo we shot out of our SR-25s was the M852, which is the Sierra Match King bullet, which is not a cannular, but then some of the M118 LR, I think that's got a cannular. So, but you asked in general, do I recommend it? Yes, I recommend it. You can cause some pretty unsafe conditions reloading for autoloaders without a cannular and crimp. So you can do it. Not bad to not do it, but when you're asking generally like that, yes, I generally recommend having one.
Rich has a good question on his Glock 19. I actually haven't noticed any pre-travel. I guess there is some pre-travel with a Glock 19. I guess I've shot mine so many times that I'm used to it. Now, triggers I don't like would be like the Berettas. It seems like forever.
Yeah.
On the older Berettas before it actually fires. Like you're pulling a trigger for days and days and then it goes off. Some of the old Rugers were that way also, and I didn't like those either. But as far as the Glock 19 goes, Rich, I haven't personally noticed a whole lot of travel with it. It seems to be pretty crisp to me.
Well, he's talking about all the way what you're used to, just the take up. I think, Rich, when you're talking about pre-travel, I think what we refer to as just the trigger take up, because it's not like a rifle trigger in that way. So yes, from when your finger touches the trigger shoe till it pulls back to what I call the wall before it fires. Yeah, that's a lot of movement there for sure. And then even as the trigger surface is engaging, it's still pretty crisp. Not near as crisp as a bolt action rifle trigger or like a 1911 trigger. So I have two pieces of advice for you. One, when you drive practice, take it up to that wall and then practice jumping over that wall with your finger, breaking the wall and not moving the sights. So dry practice will get you there. I guess I have three tips. The other is get your finger in on the trigger more. For some reason on the Glock, that works better for me. I don't know if it gives me more leverage or whatever it is. The more I keep my finger out towards the end on the Glock, the more I tend to push it. That hurts me. And one piece of advice I was given about a Glock trigger, which really, really clicked in my brain, was treat it like it's a revolver. So it may not work to you because you said you're new to handguns. But a revolver, if you shoot a revolver double action, you don't just yank the double action trigger. You just apply pressure, and you keep it moving as the gun goes off. If you did the same thing with a Glock and you pretend like it's a revolver, that's how I shoot my best tight groups with the Glock, is by doing that instead of going to the wall. For some reason, it just works better for me. As a matter of fact, when I get a Glock trigger that's too light, I actually will shoot worse. I tend to be more accurate with the factory Glock trigger with a little bit of weight and resistance behind it. I have no idea why.
I do too, and I don't know if it's because I've shot some modified triggers that were really light, and I don't know if it's just that added pressure that helps keep me steady, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it might be. It doesn't make sense, but I've just done better.
Yeah, same here. Never given it much thought, but I've shot some custom Glocks, and I'm like, not real impressed.
Yep, that's how it works. So I've talked about acceptable accuracy more than once, I'm sure, right? About allowing. Okay. Tonight is on my mind. I just got back from coaching the air rifle team, the local, county 4-H air rifle team again. And their kids are doing amazing. Every one of them has improved. Some of them had made significant improvements, even in their standings and state rankings, and they shoot for the ROTC teams and stuff like that. And that just makes me happy because that means I'm giving them some information they like and they're listening. But one of the things we had tonight is we had a new shooter join the group, and I was talking with him about acceptable accuracy because I could just tell from watching him shoot that he was doing that internal monologue that we all do, choosing when to shoot. And guys, I cannot emphasize that enough. There's some of these basic principles. I mean, there's so many. It's always just one thing, and there's tons of things to think about. When you're shooting, if I can narrow it down, all you should be worrying about is focusing on the reticle and steady pressure on the trigger. If you just repeat that mantra, you'll be way better. I mean, you're practicing and trying to get better, especially shooting groups. Of course, focusing on the front sight is key, but I believe in dry practice so that you can manipulate the trigger without adjusting or moving the rifle. But the other is acceptable accuracy in real unsupported shooting positions. The reason people do so bad is they try and wait and wait and wait and wait and then jerk the trigger when it gets perfect, and I could see him doing it. So instead, just letting him let the reticle float and apply pressure, and even hitting the edge of the target is better than completely missing. And we got to the point that his last shot, I lay down next to him like, look, stop. Get your finger off the trigger. I'm going to do it for you. And so I reached my finger in and put my thumb on the back of the trigger guard so I could put some pressure to it and had him aim and just applied pressure. And I'm glad he actually aimed, because he could have just aimed somewhere else to make me miss, to like not prove my point. But he did amazing, nailed very close to the center of the target, much closer than the other ones he was doing. We walked down and diagnosed it. And it's just so fun to go through these fundamentals of these kids, and just made me think, I got to remind you guys, it's all about the basics, guys. Focus on reticle, steady pressure on the trigger while you're shooting, and then allow the gun to do its thing and go off in what you've defined as an acceptable target. Makes all the difference in the world. So,
yeah, and we went through that too. And when I first started off, when you got me into spending all my money on rifles and AR-15s and all that jazz, I used to actually hate your phone calls when we first started with this. But
whatever.
I was like, oh man, what am I buying today? But no, in my mind, I had this fantasy of doing what the movies do, and learned real quick that is not the case. And actually got upset from it.
What is what the movies do?
Oh, I'm expecting 800 yards and I'm going to keep it in a golf ball size hole. And, and once they start learning the variables and the things that can happen, whether, wind, of course, or anything else, it was a real wake up call for me. Because I just had this image in my head that this is what was going to happen. So knowing that in advance for anybody who's getting into it, and it's new to them,
mm-hmm.
Be prepared to learn a whole bunch of stuff, because like I said, I learned a lot in a short time and was frustrated at the beginning when I shouldn't have been, and it's like you said, there should be a reasonable expectation.
Yeah. It's all about expectations.
Right.
Like my wife loves Scotch, but the first time I went to introduce her to Scotch, I had to sit her down and be like, I poured her a glass and handed it to her. She went to drink it. I was like, nope, stop. If you just drink that, you're going to hate it. I said, what I want you to do is know what you're what you're getting here. I want you to set your expectations right. It's going to be alcohol, so it's going to be a little burn to it, but there's going to be a warmth to it. I want you to think about wood. Almost, I said, if you could make tea with a piece of wood, if you could take a piece of wood and stick it in hot water and make a tea out of the wood with a little bit of alcohol flavor and maybe a little bit of smoke at the same time, that's what Scotch is. You should be tasting smoky wood with it. And like I set her up, she took a sip and she loves it, and she uses that as an example, and now so do I. Expectations matter, man. You just hand someone a glass of Scotch with a straw, they're gonna think it's the most disgusting stuff ever. Right? Maybe it is disgusting, but anyway. Well, I'm glad you admitted that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a hard time explaining it to people now? Like, you shoot long range, you try and show, explain how you're doing, and they think everyone should be able to do that?
It's interesting, because the more people I talk to, the more that's the image they have in their head in starting off, or any kind of long range shooting. That's exactly what they had in mind, is what I had in mind. And when I start to break down, I'm still, learning how to compensate for wind, which I'm getting much better at. And I've gotten actually really good, shooting out to 700 yards.
Good.
But that's not how it started off. So it's interesting when I do tell people, because they're kind of like, oh, well, that doesn't sound like, the way it should be. And I'm like, well, that's the way it is. So it is interesting.
Yeah, so you got to kind of justify it sometimes you're talking to people.
Yeah.
So Dave asked a question. He said about Rocket FFL. One of the main questions he has is if a non-citizen but a permanent resident can still apply for an FFL. Yeah. Well, technically anybody can apply, but you want to know, can you get one? Yes, if you have a green card is a U.S. person for firearms law purposes. And Danny asks, Why should I apply for an FFL if I only intend to purchase firearms for my personal use? Danny, you should not apply for an FFL. One of the legal requirements, and on the form itself, it actually asks, do you intend to do this only for personal use? If you say yes, you won't get the FFL. If you say no and it's a lie, just so you can get the FFL, then now you've lied on a federal form. So you cannot get an FFL for only personal use. Now, if you get it for mostly personal use and maybe sell a gun a year or do a transfer for a buddy and charge them $5, that's not personal use anymore. That just became a business use. So you can't not do it only for personal use.
You know, speaking of the FFL, I have a question for you.
Is it going to be answered in the course that you haven't taken yet?
Actually, I've taken all that course, and except
have you really?
Well, and here's where my question is going to come into, and where I am in the course. Have I completed it all the way? No, but I'm past the application part.
Oh well.
So I have a question about the interview, and one of the things is
like chapter 7. But okay, yes, go ahead.
So one of the things is that you're going to have to show a place that you can lock up your firearms. Correct?
Reasonably secure.
Well, that's my question. So most people automatically think gun safe. What is reasonably secure? A closet with a padlock? I mean,
this is where I got to be careful. I want to be careful because
be careful,
I sell information, and if I give it away all for free, and there's no good answer here. So no, the law says reasonably secure, and the ATF, that's why they visit, is they want to look around and see reasonably. There's gun stores that leave their guns in the glass cases at night, but they lock the doors and have an alarm system. You know, reasonably secure could be locked in your house. I know a way or a certain way that you store a certain number of firearms, which I would consider reasonably secure.
Right.
You know, so no, reasonably secure. Now, are you just going to leave them out on the back porch? Probably not a good idea. Or an unlocked door, or behind a bunch of glass to the outside with no alarm. Probably not reasonably secure. Yeah.
Just curious your thoughts. I didn't want you to give away nothing. I just,
I just don't want to get in trouble either about like,
no. But I was kind of reading through that. I'm like, well, that is not very specific, I guess, is the word I'm looking for.
Exactly. I got to give you one of those lawyer answers that's even less specific.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Ryan.
Sorry about that. You'll be fine with what you're doing.
Now, I do have a hunt coming up that I'm excited for.
Do you? Tell us about it.
It is my favorite hunt of the year. So for all the animal rights activists out there, I'm very sorry. But we do
Jason, you're doing the animal a favor. A wild animal will either starve to death or be eaten alive.
At some point, yes.
That's it. They don't just die peacefully. A wild animal doesn't just like lay down and go, I'm going to die now. They either get too old to make it to food or water, or they get eaten alive by something else. So you should have the animal activists thanking you that you're giving the animal the best death possible.
That's right. Well, every year we do our annual squirrel hunt. My dad, my brother, myself, and then the boys if they're around if they want to go. That is my funnest hunt. I look forward to that every year.
So I used to think squirrel hunting was awesome when I was younger. We used to still have the 3-wheelers. Remember that? Go out in the woods and go around on those. I loved that. But as I got older and I look back, I don't know why I loved it. I think it was because the squirrel hunting wasn't really that fun. It was the more just, you weren't hunting in the had to be quiet, sense. It was more you could drive around in 3-wheelers. You can kind of goof around and have some fun. Is that why you like it?
Yeah, the whole day is a blast. So we have fun. So we get to hunt together. And the biggest thing is we basically give each other crap all day long. The worst thing you could do is miss a squirrel on this hunt. You will catch crap the entire day.
Dude, I had a bad fishing trip with your dad, and I still catch crap about it.
That's right. Well, that's because you can't cast a fishing pole. You might be able to shoot, but you're not a very good fisherman.
They called me Thor for years because I would go to cast, and I was this one trip. I kid you not. It's one of those things that when you focus on it, you're worse at it. And I was a kid, but the more you focus, the worse you are. I had no problem casting a pole as a kid, and this one time I just wasn't getting it right, and then the worse I got worse and worse and worse to the point where I would cast it even harder and smack the lure right in the water in front of me. And so they started calling me Thor. until one time I launched the lure straight up in the air because I wanted to release the button earlier. So I'm like, wind way back, and it's huge launch with the pole, and I hear the reel going zzz. I'm like, yeah, that's right, it's going out there, and we don't see the splash. And your dad turns around and looks at me and looks out there for the splash, and none of us see it. And we all look up at the boat, and there's a lure straight above us coming, flying back down to the boat. It was pretty funny.
That's a good question. For the CZ455 Tactical, what kind of accuracy do you get past 50 yards? This is actually a good question because
one inch. I think you can get 1 inch to 50 yards on a really good group.
Because I've been actually looking into this National 22 Rifle League.
Oh, yeah.
And
like precision rifle, like the tactical stuff, but for 22s, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually considering looking into it. So I guess they have 6 to 9 tournaments here in Arizona a year. And one of our listeners that has reached out, he posts a lot and does it on Facebook, and it looks fascinating. It looks like a blast. It looks like a great time.
I think the same thing.
Cheap
I really
time.
want to do it bad.
And so, Rich, no, I have not gotten a CZ Tactical yet. But now they get the CZ Varmint out, which looks even awesomer than the Tactical in some aspects. But I haven't pulled the trigger yet. But these guys are taking some of these 22s and actually getting out to like 200, 250 yards with these things. I don't know how accurate they are.
Elevated scope base and lob them out there. Yeah.
Yeah. But it sounds like a blast. So I'm actually just now starting to look into whether I'm still sticking with the CZ or which one I'm going to go with, because I actually think that's something I would like to get involved with. And it only happens a few times a year, but sounds like a lot of good fun for not very much money.
I should try to get you one of the new Tikas 22s.
Yeah.
And call it a Gun University sponsored project.
I'm listening.
I'll try and do that. So hold off on the CZ. I'll try and get Tika to send you one of their new 22 bolt actions.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and you try it out. You like it, great. You don't, let me know, and we'll call it a Going Ballistic project or a GunUniversity.com project. And either way, I'll call it a business expense.
I'm interested. So tell me about the triggers. That's the one thing I love about the CZs that I've shot, and I've shot a couple different ones. The triggers
I think they're comparable.
Phenomenal. Yeah,
I tried it at SHOT Show playing with it. I think it's comparable. I don't remember it being remarkable one or the other. The bolt was nice and smooth though on a Tika because it's just a neat little action there. I like the CZs, but why not try the Tika one out?
Yeah, dude, I'm all for it. But I really think this is going to be my avenue this year instead of going as crazy as I went with the ARs and the 308 and everything.
Dude, and it's just so much fun. Could you imagine squirrel hunting from 100 yards away?
Oh, dude, it's already been running through my head. I'm like, this would be amazing. Plus, some of the places I could go way closer because I'm not shooting as far and have just as much fun, playing with the elevations and working it all out. So I think that's going to be my project this year. And I'm really going to look into what it takes, whether I got to join their league or just sign up for one of their shoots. So I've never done a shoot, so this is all new territory for me. I know you've done lots of shoots.
Oh yeah, competitions. Why don't you go do like a pistol competition? You got some nearby you up there.
Yeah. I got a buddy.
Go do the Cactus Match Combat League. They used to be Thursday night, IPSC style matches. You can go out there with your Glock, just have a good holster and have a way to hold a couple extra magazines and show up and say, hey, I'm new. I'm here, and everyone will be nice and show you what to do and teach you the rules, and you'll be up and running. And you'll be standing in a box, running and gunning on steel targets. That's what you should do.
I need to do that. It's going to be nice. And I'm hoping this year with some of the changes I have coming that I'm actually going to have more time to go enjoy some more stuff. That's the goal this year.
Well, if we get you guns for business use, you have to go shoot. It's called work.
I will. I'm planning to do more shooting. I'm actually upset I didn't get to do as much as I wanted this year. So with the new changes starting in January, I'm not going to be able to shoot as much of you, but you get to shoot a whole lot.
I do.
And I'm jealous.
I hope I get to go shoot it. Actually, not near as much as I used to, dude. just getting to the range is kind of hard. I guess more than some people, but not. I have tons of people in our community here, even following along, shoot way more than me. I'm too busy. Just everything about Mayday safety has completely zapped my time. I love it, but I work all day plus, and then I stay up in the middle of the night doing all sorts of other stuff. So it's just, I'm happy to do it. It's the right thing to do, but I don't get to shoot it as much as I used to.
So I got Casey talking about coming out and doing a tactical shotgun. What, I don't even know what that is.
Like using a shotgun for defensive or tactical, meaning running from steel target, to steel target and throwing slugs in there, not bird shooting. That's tactical shotgun.
I'm trying to think. All the shotguns I have are long and for hunting birds. Casey, I'll let you know. Oh, did I lose you?
Nope, I'm here, just listening to you.
No, I was just reading through some of this stuff. Yeah, I'll let you know for sure, Casey. Like I said, this next year, I definitely want to try to get out and do more stuff for sure. And I really, really have enjoyed shooting since we've started this podcast. I mean, when you got me to build my first, long range AR and all that stuff. I mean, really the only shooting that I ever did was a little bit of plinking here and there. And then of course I'd go out and practice before hunting season, but never. I would say this year alone, I have shot more than I have shot in the last 10 years.
That's awesome. You need to get into competitions then, because competitions will make you really want to get better. I mean, I went out to the desert with you and Tucker and just was a spray fest into the desert of bullets. It was fun, but it's kind of like, okay, like nobody got better at shooting.
Yeah.
You'll get to the point where you go with your AR and you'll try and get a shot timer and get up and get 2 shots on paper quicker. And then shoot 2 shots, move to a steel target, change mags. You'll actually want to start draining and all the stuff that we do with your laser trainer. That's what you're doing with a real gun. So all the games you're playing on who can hit this target fastest and move there, and the shot timer, it's just real life. You're doing it with a gun on actual steel and paper targets with buddies out there having a good time and competing with each other. And it just makes you, every time you shoot, want to get better and better at it. So yeah, I'm really kind of surprised you haven't done them. I know you don't have a whole lot of free time like none of us else do, but you should really check it out. It'll make the whole experience different. You'll start thinking differently about your gear and wanting to get better the next time you go out to better your score and move up the rankings. Yeah.
No, it sounds amazing. And like I said, with what's happening this next year, I'm hoping to have more time to actually do something like that because, and I know we've talked about it before with the laser trainer. My groups have gotten so good with my Glock 19. So when Hunter and I went out shooting, I literally at 10 yards, man, can shoot golf ball size hole. They're just hole after hole, and there's not. It's just gone. The paper's gone right there. So I can't say enough about the laser trainer.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's made me better too. I like it.
And for those of you that aren't sure what we're talking about a CERT Performer. Mine's a CERT Performer 2. I don't know which one. Is yours a Performer 2?
I have no idea. I don't even know what the Performer is. It's one of the certs.
I think that's what they called it. Was a CERT Performer 2, which is the Glock 17 base model.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I have not updated.
I will put a link to it in the show notes. So right now I'm looking it up for folks. And I'll put a link to one of them in the show notes. If they use the link, it'll help support the show.
And I guess what I probably should do is see if there's any updates for my LASR system. I have never hooked it up to the internet. I just have a cheap laptop I bought that was used, and I just keep it plugged into that and run that thing the whole time.
Yeah, I'm not very good at checking for updates. What's cool, though, is the company gives good updates.
Yeah.
So it's free updates when you buy the software. Now, that one, if you use the code Kleckner, they get a discount. I think you get 10 or 15% off if you just, when you're checking out, you type in the word Kleckner. When you check out for your LASR training. So go do that one. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, so Red Leg, it's not certs like the breath mint. It's actually with an S. S is in Sam.
SIRT.
Yep.
Cert. So I'm finding one for you guys. Like I said, I'll get and Laser app is LASR app. Go there, check it out. They sell cert pistols there. You can buy them with the software. It's awesome. Get it just on checkout, do the code Kleckner, and they'll give you a discount, which is kind of cool.
Now, the one thing I've not tried with them is they had the laser bolt carrier for your AR that would slip
I haven't
into
tried
place.
that one either.
And I'm still not even sure how it works, where your trigger, somehow when you squeeze the trigger, it fires a laser beam down the barrel. So
no, you have to put a little device down in your trigger mechanism in the lower. You can't just put the bolt carrier in. You have to put a little device in the lower too. So as like you take the slack out of the trigger, it pushes it and fires the laser.
Okay,
So
well, that
like
makes more sense. Because when I saw the picture of it, I'm like, dude, how does that work?
Yeah, because you'd like fire it once and then you'd have to recock it or something, right?
Right, exactly.
It doesn't work with all triggers and ARs, but I think it works with both standard. I don't think it works with the trigger packs. So if you have a standard trigger using just the pins, I think it works. But yeah, I haven't tried one yet. So if anyone out there knows if they like them, let us know.
Yeah, I haven't had the need to shoot one, but I certainly could see where it would help. I mean, especially if you had a big enough backyard, or like, you know, I have a big enough section of yard that I could set up something. Although my neighbors might freak out, a guy running around with an AR around the house shooting laser beams everywhere.
How can your neighbors look in your window?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I have a big enough lot that I could set it up outside and get some distance with it. Not use it in the house.
Oh, gotcha.
Although I will say, after we first got the SIRT pistol, I would go out to the street late at night when most people weren't outside.
Dude, I've done that with you when you first got. We used to stand across the sidewalk and shoot, trying to get the smallest group across the street through your garage.
Now, that was the old house, but yes. So even over there.
Yeah, I forgot you moved. Yep.
But even over there, late at night, here I am standing across the street with a pistol aimed at my house. And it's funny because some cars would be driving by and then you'd see him hit the brakes real hard. And like, what in the world's going on over there? I'd wave.
That's
funny. No problems. Don't need to call the cops or nothing. It's all right.
That's funny.
Oh, there you go. You got the link up.
Yep, I'm fast like that. Well, dude, it's been an hour. I'm glad you came to hang out.
Absolutely. Again, sorry, wasn't able to make it last week, but
dude, we all understand. We missed you, but we completely understand. So I'm just going to get the stuff ready for get this new episode up and running, get some of the links in there. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for just coming and hanging out and shooting the bull with the Collector Boys about guns. Stay safe. Go enter the contest for the Magpul Pro 700 stock on gununiversity.com. Support Rocket FFL and Rocket CCW and Mayday Safety and all sorts of stuff like that. And when Jason finally gets his Cerakote business up, we need to support that too. So we appreciate it.
Also, hey, speaking of that, before you go real quick.
Yep.
So if I enter that contest and win it, is that a conflict of interest?
No, because there's no way you'd win.
Oh, man.
Even if you won, I would lie and tell people that you didn't win.
See? CIR?
Well, how would that look? Even if you didn't legitimately win.
I just thrown it out there.
That's funny. So, all right, man. I appreciate you hanging out and everyone on the chat. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tell a friend about the podcast. We love hanging out with you guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.